Welcome to study session 9, where we'll be looking at the main branches of philosophy. In the previous study session, we were introduced to the meaning and origin of philosophy. You will recall that in the study session, philosophy was said to be an enterprise that is common to all human cultures. In this study session, you will be introduced to the various branches of philosophy. What does this suggest to you? It means that philosophy is a wide field of knowledge that has different dimensions. To understand philosophy properly, you need to be informed about the various aspects that fall within its scope. So, at the end of this study session, you should be able to identify the 5 main branches of philosophy, give the different senses in which the term metaphysics is used, explain epistemology as a branch of philosophy and the different types of knowledge, define ethics as a branch of philosophy and distinguish between human act and the act of man, describe aesthetics as a branch of philosophy, and then define logic as a branch of philosophy and list some of its uses in daily life. What are the main branches of philosophy? There is hardly a unanimous classification of the main branches of philosophy. There are many ways of dividing up the subject areas of philosophy. None of them is entirely satisfactory, since there will always be topics that cut across or fail to fit neatly into the divisions. Some scholars put them as 3: metaphysics, that is, they put the major main branches of philosophy as metaphysics; 3. metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics, or metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology, the study of values divided into aesthetics and ethics. In fact, scholars expand axiology into 3 divisions: aesthetics, ethics, and logic. Others prefer to categorize them as 4, namely metaphysics, epistemology, aesthetics, and ethics. Some still prefer to categorize them as 5: metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, and logic. In this study session, we shall adopt the 5-way categorization. This means the main branches of philosophy are metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, and logic. So we begin with metaphysics. The word metaphysics derives from 2 Greek words: meta, which means after, and physica, which means physics or nature. Thus, the word metaphysics literally means after physics, and it was first used by Andronicus of Rhodes. Andronicus of Rhodes was the first to use the word metaphysics. Andronicus of Rhodes, was the editor of Aristotle's works, and he used this around 70 BC when he edited Aristotle's work. Aristotle has some treatises, talk about works, essays, on physics, which bore that title, physics. He also had some other treatises dealing with non-physical matters, but without a title. In his arrangement of Aristotle's work while editing them for publication, Andronicus placed the treatises dealing with non-physical matters after those dealing with physics, that is, a physical matter. He did not know what to call them, so he simply called them after physics, metaphysica. That is, the treatises that come next after those dealing with physics. That was how the term metaphysics came. After seeing the works that Aristotle wrote on nature, the physical things, which he labeled as physics, he discovered that there were some titles. So there were some works that have no title, and they were dealing with things that were after those physical things, most of them. So he decided to say, since there's no title, let me put these ones after the physical ones. So he decided to call them metaphysics, and that is why we have metaphysica as originating from the editor of Aristotle's work called Andronicus of Rhodes. There is a tripartite 3-way meaning of metaphysics as a concept, namely common sense, literal, and technical sense. The common sense meaning considers this branch of philosophy as being the most abstract. Thus, to most individuals, the word bears a relation to something magical, supernatural, or esoteric. So most persons, once they hear metaphysics, they will refer to something that is abstract, something that is supernatural. To say that a thing is metaphysical What immediately comes up in the ordinary mind is something that is beyond explanation and in a way unrelated to normal existence. The literal meaning of metaphysics follows the etymological description given above that we have already looked at. The book after physics. The book after physics. This is the meaning which came about when ancient authors, that is, Andronicus of Rhodes, editor of Aristotle's work, found some of Aristotle's unfinished works after those entitled physics. So that is it. That's it from the common sense understanding of metaphysics. This literal meaning of the word expresses the idea that metaphysics is concerned with things beyond the physical realm, having been derived from the Greek term metata physical. According to this literal meaning of the word, metaphysics is concerned with things beyond the world of our existence. Finally, the technical meaning. So, in the literal meaning, when we talk about metaphysics, the second one, which is a literal meaning, when we talk about metaphysics, it expresses the idea that metaphysics is concerned with things beyond the physical realm, beyond the physical world. The final one, which is a technical meaning, renders metaphysics as a branch of philosophy which studies the nature of reality, whether human or non-human. This is where we say metaphysics studies being. Being is anything that exists, whether physical or non-physical, whether it is visible or non-visible. So metaphysics is a study of the meaning, structure, and the principle of whatever is, and inasmuch as it is or exists. In this formal object, it is all-inclusive, extending to everything and every aspect of whatever is and can exist, whether of a sensible, material, physical nature or of a higher non-physical nature. Metaphysics studies being, and as a science of being, its object is pure being or being qua being. So metaphysics studies being, and its object is pure being or being qua being. Being is both the foundation as well as the unity of all things. And by implication, metaphysics is both the foundation as well as the unity of all other sciences. There are three main divisions of metaphysics. 1. Ontology, 2. Cosmology, and 3. Teleology. Ontology is concerned with the nature of being or what exists. What is the nature of being? That is the concern of ontology. So ontology is concerned with the nature of being or what exists. It focuses on such issues as whether basic reality can only be associated with the world of our senses or if it is limited to the world of spirit. Furthermore, whether such a reality is limited to one element, matter or spirit, or two, matter and spirit. Cosmology is a branch of metaphysics which focuses on the nature, origin, and development of the cosmos, that's the world, the universe. Teleology, which is the third division of metaphysics, is concerned with questions bordering on the purpose of the universe. Teleology has to do with purpose, end. What's the aim of something? So what's the purpose of the universe? The second branch of philosophy is epistemology. The term epistemology is derived from two Greek words, episteme, meaning knowledge, and logos, meaning study. Literally, it means the study of knowledge. More generally, it is that branch of philosophy which is concerned with the study of the nature and validity of human knowledge. Epistemology discusses philosophically truth and falsehood, validity of knowledge, limits of knowledge and nature of knowledge, knower and known, etc. As a discipline that concerns the nature and scope of knowledge, epistemology asks questions such as, what does it mean to know the truth? Or what is the nature of truth? What sorts of things can be known? And can we be justified in our beliefs about what goes beyond the evidence of our senses, such as the inner lives of others or events of the distant past? Is there knowledge beyond the reach of science? What are the limits of self-knowledge? The kinds of knowledge are revealed, intuitive, a posteriori or empirical, a priori or rational, empirical, synthetic, a priori, authoritative, conceptual, and mystical knowledge. Revealed knowledge. This is the kind of knowledge that is disclosed to an individual from some supernatural source like God or through dreams. The holy books, the Bible, Quran, are thought to be revelations by God to some chosen individuals. That is, revealed knowledge has to do with knowledge that comes from God or any supernatural being. Intuitive knowledge. This kind of knowledge lies in the subconscious mind and is suddenly transferred into the subconscious mind at the moment of insight. Intuitive knowledge involves a supra-rational process in which the individual consciously does very little to bring it out. It is knowledge that is acquired directly by an immediate contact of the mind with the object without going through the process of reasoning. Such knowledge comes as a flash into the mind. Intuitive knowledge most times is found in artists, mathematicians, and all of that. You may have a particular problem you are trying to solve in mathematics. That's been a difficult problem for you, and sometimes you see yourself sleeping, or sometimes you may be in the bathroom, and then the idea just comes like a flash, and you wake up and try to solve that problem. That type of knowledge is intuitive knowledge because you didn't actually take time to reflect as such, but the thing just came as a flash, and you know that if you don't take note of that particular thing at that point in time, you're going to miss it. And that is why we say such knowledge comes as a flash into the mind. The other one is a posteriori or empirical knowledge. Empirical knowledge is acquired through the human senses of sight, hearing, touch, and smell. That is a posteriori knowledge that is acquired through the five sense organs. It is acquired through sense perception, that is through the five sense organs. Empirical knowledge is always knowledge of an individual object, a particular object, not knowledge of a class or category of objects. Then we have a priori or rational knowledge. This is the kind of knowledge you acquire through reasoning alone. In other words, it is knowledge acquired by reason without experience. The other one is synthetic a priori knowledge. This type of knowledge is both a priori and synthetic. Synthetic a priori or a priori knowledge refers to knowledge which, though related to experience, is not derived from experience and cannot be contradicted by experience, but is derived from a priori concept of human understanding imposed on experience, making the object of experience appear to the human being the way they do and to conform the structure of the human mind. So in synthetic a priori knowledge, we have a combination of experience and reason. In a posteriori knowledge, it is only experience. In a priori knowledge, it is only reason. But in synthetic a priori, we combine reason and experience. We have authoritative knowledge. Authority as a source of knowledge is linked to revelation in a way, except that it is perhaps broader and more secular in nature. Such authorities include parents, men of knowledge, or even previously revealed knowledge. So this one, it refers to knowledge you acquire from people who are more like authorities. Then we have conceptual knowledge. Knowledge in terms of universal concepts acquired through the process of abstraction. Hence it is also known as abstract knowledge or intellectual knowledge. We have mystical knowledge. This is knowledge acquired through mystical experiences. Many metaphysicians were mystics, and their metaphysics derives from their mystical experiences. The third branch of metaphysics is ethics. This is the branch of philosophy that studies. The third branch of philosophy is ethics. This is the branch of philosophy that studies the actions of the human person relative to right or wrong. It has to do with the reflected doings and morality of the human person. So ethics deals with the study of the rightness or the wrongness of human behavior or human conduct. So once we get into the realm of considering what someone has done to be right or wrong, we are operating within the realm of ethics. So ethics deals with human behavior. In ethics, there is a distinction between human acts and acts of man. Human acts are done with knowledge, intention, and free will, such that the actor is either praised or blamed. Human acts, we are conscious when we are doing carrying out human acts. We are doing carrying out human acts, performing human acts with full knowledge. We take decision. We are free. We decide, make choices. Those are human acts. But the acts of mind are those acts that are done without freedom of choice, and the actor cannot be held as responsible. In human acts, you are held responsible because you are carrying them out with full knowledge, with intention, and with free will. But in terms of the acts of mind, these are acts you cannot control. So you cannot be blamed or praised for those particular acts. For instance, sneezing, yawning, snoring, or reflex actions in general. Those are acts of mind. You cannot control them. Ethics is not interested in acts of man. Those things we cannot control, that we cannot be held responsible. Ethics is concerned about human acts. Those acts that we carry out with full knowledge, with full intention, and with free will. The fourth one is aesthetics. The term aesthetic has been used to designate an experience, the quality of an object, a feeling of pleasure, classicism in art, a judgment of taste, the capacity of perception, a value, an attitude, the theory of art, the doctrine of beauty, the state of the spirit, contemplative receptibility, an emotion, an intention, a way of life, the faculty of sensibility, a branch of philosophy, the types of subjectivity, the merit of certain forms, or an act of expression. Simply put, aesthetics is a branch of philosophy that studies beauty. So aesthetics is a branch of philosophy concerned with the nature and appreciation of art, beauty, and good taste. It has also been defined as critical reflection on art, culture, and nature. The word aesthetics derived from the Greek word aesthetikos, meaning of sense perception. This corresponds with the position of the New Encyclopedia Britannica that aesthetics derived from the Greek word for perception, which is aesthesis. It continues that the Encyclopedia Britannica continues that the term was introduced by 18th century German philosopher Alexander Baumgarten. So Alexander Baumgarten was the one that introduced this term we call aesthetics to denote what he perceives as a realm of poetry, a realm of concrete knowledge in which content is communicated in sensory form. The term was consequently applied to philosophical study of all the arts and manifestations of natural beauty. Aesthetics is more scientifically defined as the study of sensory or sensory emotional values, sometimes called judgment of sentiments and tastes. More broadly, scholars in the field define aesthetics as critical reflection on art, culture, and nature. So, the branch of philosophy that deals with the study of beauty, tastes, arts is aesthetics. Then the last one, but not least, is logic. Logic, like many other philosophical concepts, has no universally acceptable definition. We have said that from the beginning. It is because different scholars hold different views as to the concerns of logic. Etymologically, the term logic is derived from the Greek word logos, meaning speech as well as thought or judgment. Logic is concerned with human reasoning and human thought, as it studies the structure of human thought as well as the principles or laws of valid reasoning. Remember, we had already established in the first study session that logic has to do with the principles and rules of valid reasoning. So that is the concern of logic. Logic helps you to distinguish right reasoning from wrong reasoning, sound reasoning from unsound reasoning. So those are the major branches or the main branches of philosophy. In this study session, you have learned that there are 5 major branches of philosophy, namely metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, and logic. Metaphysics deals with being in general, that is anything that exists. Epistemology is a theory of knowledge. Ethics deals with the rightness or wrongness of actions. Aesthetics is the science of beauty. Finally, logic deals with critical reasoning. See you in the next studies session. Thank you.